welcome to another episode of Naija Knows. I am Nika, and we have
Day, Felicia,
Tori.
right, yes, and we're back with another episode. It's still Black History Month, and even if it's not, it is because it's all year long, and we got some facts for y'all.
We got an extra day this month.
yes,
Forget.
yeah.
All right, Tori, you kick it off first.
Oh, okay. So I have actually two shorter facts. The first fact is on Mr. Thomas L. Jennings. He is the first Black American to ever hold a patent. So in 1821, he won a patent for the process of dry cleaning that pretty much brought in how we know dry cleaning today. And because he was a free man, he was allowed and by law to be able to apply and get that patent. So he had the first patent as a Black man. He ended up using the proceeds once he sold his invention to free his family. And he did a lot of, abolitionist type of work, gave to a lot of different, Black freedom organizations and churches and things of that nature. So that's the first one. So we say thank you, Mr. Jennings. Yep, even Frederick Douglass, when he passed away, gave him words of kindness, like this is what it should mean to be a citizen, to be able to have that right to have our inventions recognized by us. And the other one is not about a person, it's actually a fact. So after emancipation, the Emancipation Proclamation, it was after it was ratified in 1985, the clinging to the idea and the function of slavery was so strong that there was a apprenticeship law that essentially was developed to try and basically re-institutionalize slavery and they're trying to be slick. So they said that, we can basically snatch orphaned children or snatch children away in inadequate homes or, from incompetent people and put them under apprenticeship until they're adults. But the apprenticeship never ends, because if they're going to then house and, provide homes and housing and things of that nature, then on top of being an apprentice, you now have to then pay back the living expenses. And a lot of people are like, well, what if they just adopted them? It's like, yeah, but they didn't. This wasn't adoption. This was stealing. And you didn't actually have to necessarily even have a reason to claim that this person was going to be your apprentice. Essentially, you could go anywhere and just say, oh, we don't think they're fit parents. We're going to snatch their children. And those children are going to work for us as apprentices until 21 or until they can pay off the living expenses we provided them. And they could get away with just, we can do that because, we think the parent is a known liar. So there's no way, and it didn't last long. The apprenticeship laws didn't last very long. But they were there. And like I said, the means to which systematically things have always been trying to pull things back in is insane.
That's crazy. Wow. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So many things that, they try to put in place to keep us in our place as Wahites people at that time, like to see us. So thank you for that, Tori. That's definitely one I never heard. So I am doing mine on something a little bit more closer to our time, something that we all have witnessed, and that is Miss Simone Biles. Because Miss Simone Biles is the most decorated gymnast of all time, male, female gymnast, period. She is 4'8", so she a little tiny thing, but she got some power in them little legs. Okay, so she has 25 medals. 19 of them are gold, and this consists of Olympic medals as well as World Championship medals. 4 of them being Olympic gold, and the other, gold from World Championships. She's also the first American woman to win 7 national all-around titles and first female gymnast to earn 3 consecutive world all-around titles. She is a 3-time recipient of the Laureus World Sports Award for Sportswoman of the Year and has received widespread recognition, including Time's 100 Most Influential, Forbes 30 Under 30, Ebony Power 100, People, Women Changing the World, USA Today, 100 Women of the Century, and two-time Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year, among others. That's just a few of the things that she's gotten. And this Simone Biles be flipping, boy. And they have how many? I should have looked that up, but so many moves named after her because the difficulty level is nobody else can do it but her. And they even tried to change the rules and take off points for her doing certain moves because other people are just not able to keep up, period. So shout out to Simone Biles. She's a young Black woman and she's doing the thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to hop right in. I'm going to play a video because this is one that we came across, and it's an interesting topic about money and relationships, how that goes, how it should go, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to play this video with a young lady that posted her situation and she went viral. So let's play.
This question, for people in a relationship, me and my boyfriend always get a fight over money, bro. Okay, mind you, I'm not broke. Like I'm not broke. I am broke right now. You know what I'm saying? But I make good money is what I'm trying to say. And all my money goes into my bills. It's just after all my money goes into my bills, I usually have nothing left. So I picked up 3 jobs, right? But my boyfriend didn't like that I was working the 3 jobs because he felt like I wasn't around my kid as much, which doesn't make any sense. But anyways, nevertheless, I had to quit a 3rd job because getting a sitter was becoming a little bit difficult because everybody started working in the evenings. So anyways, me and him always get an argument over cash. And mind you, I'm only ever asking for cash on my off days. Like if I'm paid, I'm good, right? On my off days though, I do be asking him for cash. And I'm not talking about like hundreds of dollars. I'm talking about 10, 20, maybe 50. And majority of the time it's to be put back into the house, right? Or it's to be put to good use. Like I'm not asking him to get my hair done. I'm not asking him to get my nails done. He doesn't even get any of that stuff done for me. Like he does none of that for me. Like if he does something for me, I have to ask for it. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't feel like that's right. And I get mad because every time I ask him for money, he wants to explode or have some type of reaction that just triggers me. And I just want to know, like, do you females ask your man for money, and how is that transaction? Like, is it a fight? Is it normal to ask your man for money? Like, how much money does he give you? You know what I'm saying? Does he treat you to get your hair and nails done? Like, my man literally does nothing but keep his money to himself. Like, and it's annoying, and he's very Mr. Krabs, and I don't like that. And I don't know if that makes me sound shallow or whatever the case may be, but no, I want to marry a provider. And I feel like providers, will help out. And also, he doesn't like to talk about his finances, bro. How are we supposed to be getting married in the future if you can't even have a simple conversation about finances with me? It's always turning into I'm being money hungry. But it's like, I'm realistic, bro. We need to know our budget. How much are we able to spend? Am I wrong? All right, serious question, y'all.
Okay, so that was a video she had put out, I believe, on TikTok. We've usually I believe found it on Instagram. I think I had seen it on TikTok too, but I hadn't watched the whole thing. So that can be a touchy topic in relationships. Felicia, what you got to say about it?
Well, like she said, they were apparently engaged. So I definitely think if you're going to take that sort of a commitment with someone, yeah, you need to have the money conversation. That's important because if the person has bad money management skills, that's how are we going to make this marriage? How are we going to make it through if we can even get to having the conversation? But if you're just dating, that's the one. Ooh. Let me think about it. I don't know.
They're living together too, though.
Yeah. Oh, do you have the conversation? Is it like a generic conversation that you have? Like, okay, these are the bills. This is, your half, this is my half, and everything else doesn't need to be discussed. I don't know. Ooh,
Tori,
anybody else?
Tori.
Oh, yeah, there's both sides to that, and devil's advocate, and my Libra moon is coming out for like the
Balance.
the scales of being able to see both sides. So I didn't catch whether that clearly that wasn't her husband. I didn't catch if they were just dating and living together, or, I know she talked about one day getting married, but there's a couple of questions for me that kind of comes up in my head. It's like, she's thinking about marriage, but is he? Because I feel like when a man really wants to be with somebody, there's a level of, hopefully, in most cases, not in all cases, but in most cases, do whatever you guys do. But in most cases, you tend to see that the man becomes very gracious with his woman. And I didn't like, and I cringed a little bit when she said, this transaction. It's kind of like, I kind of cringe because I feel like if I'm with somebody, there should be mutual support. And to count it as a transaction to me is keeping tabs. And I'm not necessarily on board with keeping tabs between somebody who's your potential, lifelong spouse. But also, husband, wife duties versus dating duties. In the sense, if you kind of want to get to that point, it's like, if you were just dating, nobody owes you anything. Yes, it would be nice if he could help you out, but really no one owes you anything. And if he is not willing to have the money talk about how, his finances and things, and same with you, I guess, one, is it going where you think it is as far as her situation goes? It doesn't sound like it is. But also, is that the kind of man that you want that doesn't necessarily have a level of graciousness toward you that you're looking for? So the money conversation to me, yes, it's extremely important, depending on where you want to go with your relationship, and also what you're looking for in the person you're trying to be with. Even for me, I fall into the category of hyper independence, which comes with its own baggage. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and be like, women need to know there's a certain level of baggage that comes with being hyper independent. We unpack that at other points in time. But when I date somebody, and if I go into and get into a level where I'm like thinking full life conversation things, but I expect a level of mutual support, whether that be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or financially. I don't ask 50%. I do and give what's in my heart. Sometimes I take the meal, sometimes I take this, but if I'm with the man, I expect that in a slightly more traditional sense coming back to me, to where it's like, I also know if you see me struggling and you can help me, why would you not want to help me if you love me?
Right.
Or why would you not want to gift me something? Because I know me, and I know I'm going to gift you something else too, like, just because I care about you. So I think, the money conversation, I feel like it definitely needs to happen, but I think we all have to kind of check ourselves and entitling ourselves to other people's finances if we're not on the same wavelength about it.
Right. Easy day.
These young people and the way they date. There's so many issues with what she said. For one, I'm a firm advocate. You do your household how you want to. That's fine. But she's asking for advice. My sister, it seems like you are a placeholder. He's waiting for his true queen. He's stacking his money to be ready to financially support the one that he loves. So I just feel like, and it may not be that situation, but I feel like part of it is that's the issue when people date nowadays. And I'm not just talking about this lady. I'm talking about in general when I listen to other people that are dating. What I've learned is the issue is when you start to get with someone and you're having those conversations, people need to talk about expectations in relationships. People need to talk about what they feel gender roles are, if they feel that it applies. How do they see their relationship working out? Those things need to be discussed at the beginning. Because for me personally, when I was dating, I never did wife duties for somebody I was dating. I'm not your wife. If I should happen to cook and you came over, I'm going to offer, but I'm not cooking for you. That's just what I'm not putting myself in that situation because I'm not your wife. And I've had those conversations with people. I was very upfront with that. we gonna go through all the tiers, and this is my expectation. I live on my own. I pay my own rent. I'm not expecting any man to do that. If you want to offer, like I said, like Tori said, if you're in a time of need and I'm just talking to you about it and you offer, even then I was very reluctant to accept help. But I think it's more so having a discussion of expectations, and this is not something that she really did with him or was adamant about getting a solution. And so she allowed herself to put it upon herself to get 3 jobs. Now that was another thing that was very bothersome. You went and got 3 jobs. So if you guys are living together, what are the responsibilities within the home? Because you're saying all your money goes towards the bills. So what is your partner contributing to the household? Because how can you work 3 jobs and you don't have any money? So are you solely paying all of the bills and the utilities and he's just sitting there looking pretty? It's a lot of things that I think she's leaving out, but it's very sad to hear that she has a male partner, not even male, could be any type of partner, has a partner that is not willing to be a helpmate in any type of situation. And that is a dangerous spot to be in, where he can't even say, "You worked so hard. Hey, here's $100. Go get your nails and your feet done. Go relax. Take care of yourself." Everybody knows mental health and taking care of yourself is the only way you're able to give that love and energy to everybody else. And if she's depleting herself, she's not going to be able to give that to her child, and she damn sure ain't going to be able to give it to him. So there's a lot going on, but money should definitely be talked about, especially when you're living together. There should be some talk about responsibilities. How is that going to go? How are we going to split it up? It just shouldn't be left in limbo, because then you have situations like this.
Yeah, I agree. She left a lot out, I feel like. And and just speaking from my own personal experience, setting them expectations is important because you will find yourself, again, personal experience without giving too many details, 3.5 years in, I'm looking around like, well, dang, what did I get out of this? Outside of physical, what exactly did I get out of this? Because I done took care of my children, his kids, birthday present, all this stuff for somebody that's literally looking at me in my face and telling me, oh, what do you mean you're my girlfriend? Like that's literally was the situation. You know what I'm saying? So setting those expectations is very important. And it sounds like it seems like they live together. That's the gist I'm getting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She didn't say if their child was together, if it's both of their child, or if it's just hers. Either way, even if it's not his child, if you in the house with that child, obviously that's going to come with some sort of responsibility. That child is now, to a certain extent, your responsibility, because if you're paying rent, well, the child is staying under that roof as well. So, you getting 3 jobs and he, at least according to her, is just stacking his money. I agree. Yeah, he's stacking his money for who he really won't. He using you to get by until he gets to a place where he want to be financially, because a lot of times that happens too. I stand by my man and all this other stuff while he on his struggle bus, and then when he get in that Lexus, he leaving your ass in the dust. So you have to be very clear up front. Hey, look, don't think you just finna up and haul ass. Like, this is what I expect. If you're living in the house, these are your bills. These are however y'all want to split that up is on you. It might be based on how much money you make or whatever. But to just be like, oh, he's stacking his money and I'm working 3 jobs.
That's
Nah,
insane.
that's crazy
he
to
had
me.
an opinion about that. The fact that he came out of his cubby corner and had an opinion about her having 3 jobs, like that's
Oh,
going
you're
to
not
take.
yeah.
Like, how
So-
dare you?
Well, if you pay more bills, then I won't need a third job. And then that way I can spend more time, which him saying that makes it seem like maybe it is his child. Or maybe he just tired of babysitting. I don't know. But
How
like,
can you babysit your own child? Huh?
Right. I don't like that either for when it comes to men. You're not babysitting your own child. It's your
No,
child.
you're being a father.
It's your child.
Spending quality time, sir.
Right. That's very strange to me. But I feel like at this point, look, it's more so now it's like looking at her for like what we pretty much probably know she's omitting. But also it sounds more like a miscommunication. Like maybe he's thinking they're roommates and she's thinking
It's more.
to it, because that sounds like to me like how roommates function. I pay my bills. This is my money and how I function with my money, but I pay whatever it is I'm gonna pay. But good luck over there.
I think
That's what it sounds like.
yeah, I think a lot of times I had this discussion when I was, dating, if that's what you want to. I was meeting people. That's what I'm gonna call it. I ain't even gonna call it dating. I was meeting people, and And they weren't horrible men. Let me just put that out there, because I know some of them might see this. Y'all wasn't bad. It's just we wasn't gonna be a romantic match. That's fine. But I remember a conversation that I had was, you know, I feel like a lot when I was saying what my expectations were, I feel like a lot of times I'm going to say we because I'm talking about myself, have just sort of, you meet somebody, you like them, you start hanging out with them, you start having sex with them, and you kind of fall into this relationship where there actually hasn't been any conversation about what, even as far as a relationship, now you're talking about the money part. What is it you're expecting from me as your girlfriend? And then, like I said, my situation, 2.5, 3 years in, he's like, what do you mean you're my girlfriend? Like, hold on, we've been you in my house? I'm with your kids. I'm with, like, oh, what you mean? Like, I'm not your girl. What? And
That
like
makes
a
you want to
whole
fight
argument about
somebody.
it. And I realized that was my mistake. That was my thing. I'm like, go with the flow. Cause that's just how I am in general. Like, okay, whatever, and not being clear. And I feel like a lot of times that's what people do. And then you end up in situations like this where you working 3 jobs and he's sitting back like, what you mean? Pay a bill. What bill? You got it. You know what I'm saying?
The way the keys will be, the way the locks will be changed on that door.
Quick, real quick.
Quickly.
I don't live here anymore.
So what do y'all think? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. It might be where you're segmenting into because I'm thinking of men in general, like it's around your expectation of men, but also finding what's right for you. So a more traditional man that's like they want to come in and provide, then that's a certain kind of conversation. But or if you want to do, progressive new age where everything is 50-50, yeah, setting expectations and making sure that you're finding what you want versus trying to impose what you want on somebody else when that might not be what they want to give.
Mhm.
Like try to
Yeah.
potential.
I feel like in my younger years, which is why sometimes I say I'm behind the 8 ball. And I hate to use that because I'm not behind the 8 ball, but I kind of did the go with the flow thing. And I got it 50-50. But at this age, I'm tired of paying bills. So yeah, you can come pay. Like I'm good with
You
that.
got it.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
got it.
You got it. So maybe the traditional thing isn't so bad. Because paying this light bill every month is getting kind of boring, it's getting old. But what I was gonna say, so once let's say, you're in a relationship and it does to get to a point where you're either living together or talking about marriage, et cetera, how do you bring up the money conversation? Is it something you have while you're dating, or is it not till it gets serious? Now, okay, let's talk about finances to like, let's first make sure we actually like each other. Now we've determined that we like each other and we want to take it to the next level, whatever that means for you. How do you bring up that conversation? Is it comfortable? Because a lot of times money is an uncomfortable situation or
It's
an
always going to
uncomfortable
be.
topic
Yeah.
because it's, it takes a certain amount of vulnerability.
I
It's
think
always going to be uncomfortable. I
no,
mean, but you have to have it.
I feel like if you are comfortable with the person and you both see yourselves going in that direction, but I can only speak for myself. I don't think I would be ever uncomfortable about it. Because if I get to a point, I feel like if I get to a point where I want to take it to the next level with somebody, we're already on a certain kind of wavelength where it's like, okay, now that we've got, this stuff out of the way, the more practical things over here still need to be talked about and taken care of. So let's talk about some things. And money is going to be one of those things. But I'll tell you, to get to that point with me, to even want to take it to the next level, I have to see that you are a overall generous person. Like generosity, and I don't mean that you just spend lavishly and it's the dollar amount of the gifts you give me, or you're paying for my nails and you're paying all. That's not the kind of generous I'm talking about, but like it's a mix of generosity and how you action what you feel toward the person that you're dating. So your actions are going to say way more than your words are. So are you thinking, what are your actions behind thinking about me? How do you show that? What kind of graciousness do you show the people around you? What kind of consideration do you show? And I feel like that being gracious financially comes with that. And I wouldn't even consider going to the next step with somebody who I didn't feel was at least gracious with me. I don't need anybody to come save me. I do very well. But are you gracious with me? Are you loving toward me? Do you want to show that you want to be there? And if you don't, and I feel like I have to, you know, get you to stop being, a penny pincher with your butt cheeks, you're not for me. You're not there. You if you holding on to all your pennies with the bottom of your butt cheeks, that's not going to be the kind of person I want to be with. Because I know that at that point, if something does happen, then that's going to be a potential problem later on. Like,
right. Usually.
Yeah. I do think that there are set times where you should have these conversations. I definitely do believe it's, especially if you're not living together. I think it should be at a time when you're deciding to say, okay, we see a future together. Now we need to see where we at. Let's look at finances. Because like I said, I'm married now, but that was a conversation that it was like, how are we gonna talk about this? It was a long distance relationship. We live in a whole different country. It was like, okay, gotta see what that credit score looking like, sir. I'm going to be transparent with mine. We're going to see what type of debt we have. These are things that we have to look at, because how can you build a future with someone when you don't even know that y'all both working in a deficit or not? You need to sit down and say, hey, are you someone that just say, F them bills, I don't care, let them pile up, let the creditors call. I personally don't want nobody calling my phone trying to get a hold of you. Excuse me, that's not my bill. And how did you get this number?
You're calling for who?
I don't want to deal with stuff like that. So learning how to have those conversations, I think there's a very tactful way to do it. And that could just automatically be rolled into, okay, look, we're serious about each other right now. We're planning in the future. Let's look about how are we going to attack savings? How are we going to set aside money for this wedding that we're talking about? Hey, at what point do you say joint or separate accounts? And that's been a conversation that I've had with a couple married couples. And I was surprised to see how many couples do not share a joint account.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
that's crazy.
Sorry.
Who's saying something?
Me, sorry. I thought you stopped. I was gonna say I think the money conversation a lot of times has to do with embarrassment, because you're not doing as well as you may portray. I'm at the mall shopping or online, Amazon, I got a package coming every other day. Meanwhile, my credit card is at, $3,000 in debt. You don't know how I'm buying. So sometimes it can be embarrassment. Be like, oh yeah, so by the way, this is how much debt I actually have. Or to your point, this is what my credit score actually is. And I think that a lot of times that embarrassing feeling, because it is, can show you how you spend your money, can show a lot about you. It can, stops people or can make people apprehensive about, having the conversation. I know definitely in my case, he wasn't supposed to be living with me. It was supposed to be a 2-week situation. So I didn't feel the need to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh, you just have a couple weeks till your new place is ready. That's how it was started. And then, a year and a half later, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out, Right. So it never really came up. And I think in my situations, outside of that, I've never lived. Well, another one, although it was very short. I never lived with anyone. And in my relationships outside of those two particular ones, like my child's father, like it was never like a thing. To your point, Tori, about being generous, I didn't have to ask or be like, hey, I'm doing, like they would offer, hey, I'm gonna pay, hey, how much is your phone bill? Oh wait, you come over here this time, hey, here's your gas money. Like I never really had to ask. If we went out, they always paid. It was never a question of whether I had to fight if I wanted to pay. No, put your wallet away, let me pay, that type of thing. So money, I don't know. It can be very, very touchy. This young lady, unfortunately, sounds like she's way deep in it, and it might take her a little minute to get, extricate herself from that situation. Because he, at least the way she's describing him, he low key sound like a bum.
Yeah.
You got to leave bums on the corner.
I will encourage her or anybody in that situation, when it comes to love, love requires full vulnerability, and it requires you to be naked, not only in the intimate way, but to be able to show your true self to that person. And if you're not willing to show, hey, I have issues with money, and let's go and roll into this economic of financial freedom type of course to help you get where you need to get, that person that you're with may be someone that knows how to manage money well. Let them teach you. Let them show you. You don't have to be embarrassed, because at the end of the day, if y'all do get married, that two become one, and your money is my money. It's our money. So we need to make sure that we're managing it properly. You know what I'm saying? But Felicia, like, how do you address money in your relationship or when you were dating in the past? Has that ever been something that you brought up or the other person brought up?
It was just something that just came up naturally because it just needed to be talked about. Just, yeah, it just happened.
Well, you look.
That's so it's not like I had to bring it up. It's just a conversation that happened. But it was always living with that person. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, when does that conversation happen? If you're just dating, if you're living with them, or if you're about to get married? Like, when do you have that conversation?
I feel like if you're deciding to be, serious, not whatever your serious is, y'all's definition of serious, then you should, you might not have to disclose every single detail at that point, but at least be like, hey, this is a conversation that we need to have at some point. This is what I got going on, at least what you're willing to share up to that point. And they need to, do the same with you. Definitely, if you're talking about getting married, this is also just from, I don't want to say too much because it would be too personal, but like observation from what I've seen for a very long time, you need to have the conversation. Like I distinctly remember my mother coming into my room and telling me certain things because certain things they were not agreeing on. I'm talking about my parents in this case. And she would come say certain things to me. I'm not gonna, get too personal with that. But it did teach me like, hey, money is definitely a conversation you need to have. And y'all
Mhm.
both gotta be willing to have the conversation, to be open about it and not feel like you're being attacked or being made fun of, or you shouldn't feel any type of embarrassment. Because, like y'all been saying, if you love them, you should be able to have that conversation.
Maybe
Mhm.
like levels to the money conversation, depending. I think it would be fair to say there should be levels of money conversation at each stage. So if you're just dating and you're getting to know each other, if you expect something more traditional and you do expect the man to, take care of things for the most part, and you expect that graciousness, I think that that's a fair conversation to have early on in the dating phase. If just that, not to go into their credit score and things, but if in a more so just kind of setting the tone of this is kind of what I expect to see, and then if you decide you want to take it a step further or move in together, then that's another deeper level of conversation money wise of, if we're going to move in together, we need to talk about the finances of the house and how we're going to manage the home. You're not married or anything, so no, you don't have a right at that point still to dig into their whole financial history or anything, but you definitely want to know enough to make sure that you're both comfortable with how you're going to manage the house finances if you're going to live with each other. And then if you're taking it even further and you're thinking about marriage, then yes, then you go all the way in. I think that there's healthy levels to work your way up to. And again, that's not just to say that men should take care of everything. It really does depend on, like to EJ, what she was saying, like it really does depend on the people and what their level of comfort is between them, but it should mirror, and both parties should be very comfortable with the approach. So if the approach is 50-50 and both of you love that, then that needs to be the situation, because clearly having somebody who likes 50-50, but the other person is like, no, I want the other person to fully support, you already going in different directions and the foundation is clearly not even set, and that's going to be issues immediately later on. So I think you judge the level of conversation to kind of where you are in that, and I think if you start having those early, it becomes easy
Mhm.
later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
it definitely takes us, like I said before, in a state of vulnerability. I feel like if you can have a conversation, open, honest, 100% honest about money, you can probably have a conversation about anything, because there's other things that are going to come up, obviously, other than just money. But money is, the number one driver in a lot of divorces.
Mhm.
It's the money conversation. So that is one that you definitely need to have for sure if you're going to legally tie yourself to someone, because their debt
Alimony can
becomes
happen.
your debt. Your
Alimony happen.
20,000 become
Mhm.
my. I just saw a video today, matter of fact, where the girl was posted a screenshot of her child's father's girlfriend telling her that she didn't think it was right that she should file the taxes on the child, and if she should, that she should give them half. It's all types of situations that come up when it comes to, yeah.
Give
Wait, hold on.
them.
What? Say that again?
I heard
give
plural.
them the father, the child's father and the girlfriend. She needs to give them half of whatever she gets back as a refund from claiming that child on her taxes. And even according to her, the child is with her most of the time anyway, which is normally how it is. A lot of times it's with.
So they must have not gone to court and did the child cut. And if they
No,
did,
he
they
was
didn't
paying
do it
child
right.
support. He was
Oh,
paying
really?
child support because the screenshot said that the girlfriend was saying he already pays you $500 a month in child support. We should get half of the tax refund. If you're not going to give us half, then you need to lower his child support. It don't
No,
equate,
that's not how that works. First of
Well,
all,
because that's a
refund is
one-time payment,
that's not how
yeah.
that works.
not a monthly thing. But
And
most court cases, like you said, will say in the agreement whether each parent can have alternating years or whatever the case may
oh, I
be.
had all my years. You're not getting nothing.
See, I never, we never did
You
that.
get nothing. I want my back pay, and I want all my years. Thank you. Signed,
Yeah,
sealed, and
it
delivered.
wasn't for my older son. It was never discussed. A, because we were both college students and broke, so it wasn't even a thought at the time. But he never, I think maybe he asked me one time, but it never even was a thing. So I went after looking at it, I'm like, man, listen, as many issues as I had when it comes to dealing with, co-parenting, I got lucky as hell because some of this stuff I see, like, I ain't never had to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we had a discussion, we might have disagreed, but we just agreed to disagree and we moved on, But yeah, money is a touchy topic for some people. It shouldn't be, but it is. Any last words, last comments before we close it out?
Look,
Talk
y'all,
about it, people. Talk about it. It's okay. Let's talk about it. If you broke, you broke. Just say that. It's okay. We can
We gonna
work it
find out
out. We
eventually.
gonna we gonna hell, I file a lot of taxes on the side. I mean, we're gonna find out anyway. Just be
What
upfront
you,
about it. It's
what
okay.
you saying, Tori?
I was
Okay.
just like, find somebody that's on the same level as you as far as what you want to give, what they want to give, what you're willing to receive, what they willing to receive. Because if you can't match that up, everything else just go follow the spiral. Just
Mhm.
don't do it.
Yes.
Have
Yes.
expectations, please. Set expectations.
yeah.
Yes. And be clear about it and be okay with when you set that expectation, that person may say, you know what, that's not for me. A lot of times I also think that we kind of don't do it because we don't want them to leave, like, oh, I don't know if I'll find anybody else, that type of thing. Just be okay with people leaving and saying, no, that I'm not going to sign up for that. That's okay too.
Yeah, if you're looking to be kept and he's looking for somebody that's gonna help, that's not gonna work out. So
It's
a
not
lot
a
of
match.
and you can't just sit there and be like, I'm gonna work until we get married, and then you take your hands off, be like, I want to be kept, I want to be as a stay at home. That's confusing too. So ladies, we gotta do better on that.
That was my situation, my marriage when I was married. Decided after the fact that even though we did talk about it, decided after the fact that he didn't want work.
Mm.
But unilaterally, by himself, decided he didn't want to work. And it was like, well, okay, well, I'm no longer married. That was it. But
And we see how that turned out.
but the shit gotta line up. It's gotta line up, and you gotta talk about it constantly too, and make sure that check in.
Everybody's on the same page. Yeah.
Right.
That we in the same book. How about
What was
that?
that they be saying yesterday? Was it no work, no go, no go chop? In other words,
Yeah.
if you don't work, you don't eat. Everybody got to be working around here. No work, no
Yes.
go chop.
Yeah, y'all just talk about it in your relationships, figure out how you want to run your household. And if it don't end up your way and you don't talk to that person about it, please don't come on social talking about it. That's all I
Yeah,
got to say.
please. Yeah, please don't.
Talk to your man, because he's the one that you need to be having that conversation with. And clearly,
Right.
yeah,
Something's missing there.
but good luck to her. And I
Yes,
hope she
hopefully
gets
it
what she
works out.
needs.
Yes.
And if not, find a person that's going to give you what you need. If you're looking for a provider, you're looking for someone to be able to be sensitive towards how you can pamper yourself because you work hard, then maybe you need to reevaluate that relationship. And even if his name is not on the lease, then even better. But if it is, wait till that lease is over and then move on with your life, you and your baby.
Right.
But good luck to you,
All
ma'am. Happy Black History Month.
All right, y'all. That's all we got for you today. We're gonna put all of our socials, of course, like, share, subscribe, comment, interact with us, because a lot of you send us your stuff individually, but make sure you comment on the video. It doesn't matter if you agree, disagree. It does not matter. Just comment whatever your thoughts are. We want to hear all of it. And I think that's it.
Topics.
Say it with your chest in the comment section,
Yes.
please. Not in my DMs, not in the DMs, not in Felicia DMs. Say it with your chest.
I'm gonna screenshot it anyway if you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
One in the group chat.
Yeah.
What you gotta say. We appreciate all of it. All of it.
Yes.
We appreciate all of it.
Yes, indeed. All right, y'all. That's it. Peace out.
Ah.